Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Whisky and Sports, where we're going to review the weekend's Premiership action. Don't forget, if you like these videos, to please hit that subscribe button, smash that like button and ring that notification bell. Get straight into a review of this weekend's Premiership action and also a review of my predictions. If you want to have a look at the predictions I made, I'll put a link to that video in the screen up above. So the first game up this weekend was the midday kickoff on the Saturday between Arsenal and Burnley. I had down this game as a 3-1 win to Arsenal, bearing in mind that Sean Dyche has played 27 teams in the Premiership, and out of the 27 he's taken points off 26 of them. The only team he's not taking any points off is Arsenal, and I favoured that streak to continue. Now, I had predicted a 3-1 win for Arsenal. However, it turns out that Arsenal won 2-1. This was a pretty exciting game, actually, with Arsenal taking the lead through Lacazette before Ashley Barnes bullied the Arsenal defence and taking one back. And then that guy, Aubameyang, just stepped up in the second half, showed his worth, and just whipped a crazy shot into the bottom corner to give Arsenal the win. In all reality, Arsenal were worth their win. They played really well, and I think they're looking good this year so far. Then we moved into the 3 p.m. kickoffs. The first game here was Villa and Bournemouth. In my predictions, I had Villa down as a 2-1 winners. This was largely based on the performance they put in against Spurs. However, I was obviously duped into this belief, as Bournemouth quite easily beat Villa, pretty much scoring at will, and taking the game with the final result 2-1 to Bournemouth. Next, we had the Brighton and the West Ham game. Probably the dullest game of the weekend. I had this game down as a 2-0 win to Brighton. I just had a feeling that West Ham, although they could beat Man Utd, who's probably the best team in the league this year, I thought they capitulated a little bit in the second half. Turns out that this ended in a 1-1 draw. However, I should say that Brighton did have a goal ruled or disallowed by VAR for handball. Next, it was the Everton Watford game. I had this game in my predictions down as a 1-1 draw. However, Everton took this game 1-0. By all accounts, Watford were terrible. They really offered very little to this game, and Everton took the early lead in 10 minutes, I believe, and then just kind of sat it out, and nothing much happened after that. They just went on to a pretty routine win. Now, the best game of the 3 p.m. kickoffs was easily the Norwich Newcastle game. I had this game down as a 2-1 win to Norwich, but turns out that Norwich weren't happy with that, and particularly that man Pukki. They ended up running out easy 3-1 winners, with Pukki picking up a hat-trick. I believe it was the first Norwich hat-trick in the Premiership for over 26 years when they played or beat Everton. A lot has to be said here for the Norwich front play, but I think more has to be said about the Newcastle team performance. If rumours are correct, Steve Bruce was extremely unhappy with his performance and called all his players in on the Sunday to give them a real dressing down, not because of the performance, but more because of their attitude. Now the last 3 p.m. kickoff on the Saturday was Southampton Liverpool. I had this game down as a 2-0 win for Liverpool, and actually this game was the game that ruined my bet on the 87th minute, where everything was going beautifully under 2.5 goals, and then Adrian decides that he needs to show off, and he makes that absolute howler for Southampton to score their goal. If you haven't seen that hurler, I'll put a link in the description below to the video so you can watch his absolute amateur goalkeeping mistake. The evening kickoff for the Saturday was the big game of the weekend. It was Man City v Spurs. I had this game down as a 3-0 win for Man City, and it was looking pretty plain sailing in the first half, with 2 goals from Man City, a fantastic pass from De Bruyne into Sterling for the first goal, and then an equally brilliant through ball for the second goal for Aguero. Made it 2-1 at half time, and then Spurs really turned up the performance in the second half, scoring the equaliser and running the game out a 2-2 draw. Moving into the Sunday, you had the early kick-off between Sheffield United and Crystal Palace. In my predictions, I had this down as a 1-0 win for Sheffield United, and so it happened that it turned out to be a 1-0 win for Sheffield United. I believe Palace are probably in a little bit of trouble. I think they need to get their act together. Now, I don't think they're going to get relegated this year, but I think they need to get their act together pretty quickly. Otherwise, they could find themselves in a lot of trouble as the season goes on. The last game on Sunday was the Chelsea-Leicester game, and the homecoming of the saviour that is Frank Lampard. His first home game, league game in Stamford Bridge. This game got off to an amazing explosive start for Chelsea, taking the lead within the first 10 minutes. And then after that, it kind of dwindled out. I did have this game down actually as a 2-1 home win for Chelsea. Leicester held up their bargain of the scoreline and scored the equaliser, but Chelsea just couldn't find that extra gear. They just couldn't find that winning goal, and the game ran out a 1-1 draw. Now the last game of the weekend was Wolves Man United. In my predictions, I had this down as a 3-1 away win for Man United. I felt that Man United would be sore for the 2-1 defeats last year, one obviously in the FA Cup and the other in the league. And Man United certainly started out that way in the first half. They took the initiative. They took the game by the scruff of the neck. They really didn't give Wolves a kick of the ball, and they took the lead through an excellent Martial goal. Then half time came. And whatever Wolves got told at half time, it really gave a fire burning bright inside them. It really spurred them on. In particular, Ruben Neves, who scored a spectacular goal from outside the box. I think one of the stats that was floating around after the game is that Ruben Neves last year scored more goals outside the boxes than touches he had inside the box. I think he scored 4 goals outside, and he had 3 touches inside the whole season. So he continued that form with a masterful strike from outside the box. If you haven't seen that goal again, I'll put a link in the description below so you can see it. It's certainly a contender for goal of the month, if not goal of the season already. So that's my review for the weekend, guys. If you agree or disagree with anything I've said, please leave a message in the comments below and I'll make sure to reply to you.